Hi there, Chevy owners. Today in your 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 3500, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Torklift's SuperHitch Magnum 30K. This is going to replace your factory hitch and provide you with dual receivers. And you're probably wondering, what do I need two receivers for? Many of the factory hitches on our Silverados, they already have 2.5 inch with adapters for a 2. Well, this offers the same thing, plus you get a 2 down here. And the benefits of this will allow you to haul a trailer down here, and you could also hook accessories up here, such as a bike rack, and bring that along with you. It's also great for TorkLift's SuperTruss. For you guys out there that have campers that you place on the back of your truck, you can then put the SuperTruss on there, which extends out to the end of your camper, so you can use it like a normal hitch. On bottom, we've got our 2 inch by 2 inch receiver, and on top, we've got our 2.5 by 2.5. There is a sleeve inside that brings it down to 2 inch, so you can use two 2 inch accessories if you want to, or again, you can pull this out and you've got your 2.5 inch receiver. Both receivers are going to use a 5/8 inch hitch pin and clip. They do come included with it, so you don't have to worry about purchasing an additional one, although having a locking hitch pin can help you protect your investments. Down here on bottom, we've got our safety chain loops. They're a horizontal plate style, and they do kind of have a narrow opening that's pretty long, but we've got our big guy here, and with this one, it does fit in there. So you should be able to use this with just about most of your shape, size of safety chains. This hitch offers a 2,500 pound tongue weight, which is the force going down on top of the receiver. And that's going to be more than enough for any camper that you're planning on pulling and any accessories that you would want to place in there. It also offers a 20,000 pound gross towing capacity, which is how much that it can pull behind it. And again, that's going to be more than enough for any of your campers out there. This bad boy can handle just about anything. Now, if you're using a weight distribution system with it, that does greatly increase the capabilities of this hitch, bringing the tongue weight up to 3,000 pounds and the gross towing capacity to a huge 30,000 pounds. Now, as always, I recommend that you verify on your vehicle's owner's manual and ensure you don't exceed any of its towing capacities. Now I've got some measurements for you to help you when deciding on your accessories. For the center of our hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper, they're going to be pretty much dead even straight down with the back of your bumper here. And from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube, for our bottom one, it's going to be about 20 inches. And for our top one, it's going to be about 23 inches. This is important when determining if you need a drop rise or raise shank on your accessories. And since it does sit up so high, you may want your drawbar to have a drop on it so you can haul a level trailer. Now that we've gone over some of the features of our hitch, why don't you follow along with me in the shop, and we'll go over it together so you can have the confidence to install it at home. We'll begin our installation underneath the vehicle. You'll want to take down your spare tire to give yourself some more room to work. We've already got that out of the way. Once you get that out of the way, we're going to remove the heat shield that was next to the spare tire. There's 2 bolts that'll hold the shield in here. We'll use a 13mm socket to remove them. We'll then set it down and put it aside. Now we've got the heat shield out of the way. Next, we're going to have to remove our factory hitch. If you don't have a factory hitch, you will have a cross beam you'll need to remove. Some of the hardware we're going to be taking out is going to overlap with that cross beam, but there's going to be more hardware if you have a hitch. We're going to take out the bolts here at the back, and there's another one on the bottom of the frame just on the other side of the frame piece here. We're going to use a 21mm socket to remove these. We'll then remove these with a 21mm socket. You'll need one on the top as well to hold to keep it from turning. Then as we move to the rear, the one up in here, we're just going to use our 21mm to remove. And then on the side, we're going to have bolts as well we're going to remove with our 21mm socket. Now that we've got all the hardware loose on this side, before we go over to the other side, we're going to take one of the nuts that we had removed from the bottom here and just put it on there a couple of turns, just so that way when we're taking off the other side, there's no chance our hitch can fall down on us. Next, we got a couple of bolts in the middle here we're going to take off with a 13mm socket. Now with an extra set of hands, those nuts that we had loosely installed To keep it from falling down, we're just going to take those off. And we're going to carefully lower it down. Yep. And you might have to push the exhaust over a little bit when taking it down, but it'll push out of the way. We'll then just set it down out of our way. We're now just going to temporarily thread these guys in that we had removed from the side. We don't need to go in very far. We're just threading them in there because this is actually what holds the bumper in. And we have more hardware to take off before we can put our hitch up. And that hardware's up in here. And once that last bolt comes out, the bumper can just slide right out of there. So we're just going to loosely put those in. Just to the rear of the bolt we had removed here, there's an opening. And up in that opening, there's another bolt up there that we're going to take out. We're going to remove that bolt with an 18mm socket. We're going to remove the one on the other side of the vehicle as well. We can now lift our side plates into position. We want the angle of the L here to be facing towards the outside of the vehicle, not towards the center. We're going to line up the holes with those in the bottom of the frame. And the bolt we removed that went into the weld nut, we're going to take one of the shorter, larger bolts and place a spacer on it. And that's going to go through the second from the rear hole and our side plate and thread into that nut. You'll know you've got the correct nut if you look at the head of the bolt and it says 10.9 on it, because this is going to be the only metric bolt that comes in our kit, is the ones for these weld nuts. Once you get it started on there, the side plate will hold itself up, making it easier to install the rest of your hardware. Now we're going to take our longest bolt that comes in the kit. You're going to put another one of those spacers on it, just like on there. Then this is going to slide up into the frame. On top of that, inside the frame, we're going to be putting one of the large black spacers. So we're just going to reach in this hole, slide it over the top of our bolt there. After we put that on, we're going to place 2 flat washers. And then the pipe that comes in your kit. And then after you put the pipe on, before threading it up into the frame there, we're going to place one more of the black spacers. Then thread it into the weld nut where we removed the factory bolt. We want to leave it loose at this time. For our forward holes here, we're going to be using the longer bolts that come in our kit. We're going to slide a spacer on it, and it's going to drop down through the frame and through our side plate. It's going to be the same for both of these holes up here. And then on the other side, we're going to follow that up with a spacer, lock washer, and nut. We're now going to get the other side loosely installed just like this. Now that we've got both of them loosely hanging here, the bolts that we first threaded up to hold our side plates on here, the spacer on there was just there to give us a little extra surface area to ensure that it held it in place. We can go ahead and just unscrew that bolt, slide our spacer back off, and then thread it right back up in there. We're going to do that on the other side as well. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to lift our receiver into position. We're then going to take our bolts and slide them through the hole. We want to slide them from the inside to the outside. And on the other side, we're going to place a lock washer followed by a nut. Once you get one on each side, it'll hold itself up, so it'll be easier to install the rest of your hardware. We now need to fish wire some of our hardware into the frame. This is a 7/16 bolt, so it's a little bit smaller of a diameter than the ones we've been using before, and it's also a grade 8, and you can tell that by the 6 hash marks on the top. We're going to place a star washer on it, followed by one of the spacer plates. We're now going to take our coiled wire and we're going to push it up through the frame where it comes down here on the side of our hitch where the leaf spring on your truck attaches right above this. So we're going to slide it through this hole closest to the hitch, and then we're going to come out here on the opening here on the inside. We'll then just grab our coiled end and we're going to thread our bolt assembly that we made here onto it. We can then just drop it down in there, and then we'll use our coiled wire to pull it down. Once you've got it pulled down, you're going to need to take your coiled wire off So you can do this again over on the other side. We can now take our gusset brackets here, and we want the angled edge to be towards the rear of the vehicle. We're going to carefully push that up over our bolt. We're going to slide a flat washer over it, followed by a lock washer, and then finally a nut. And I like to push pressure against the side of the bolt to help keep myself from pushing it up into the frame. We're then going to install the other one on the other side, get it hanging just like this. We're now going to take the shorter 1/2-inch diameter bolts that come in our kit. We're going to place a flat washer on them, slide them from the inside of our side plate until it goes through the gusset. We're going to do that with both the upper and lower holes. And then we're going to follow that up with another flat washer, lock washer, and nut. We can then put the support brace in place. That's going to support our bumper. That's going to line up with these holes here. These are going to use the smaller silver bolts that come in your kit. You're going to have a washer put on them first, and then they're going to slide from the outside towards the inside. And then we're going to follow that up with a flat washer, lock washer, and nut. We're just going to repeat that for the 3 remaining holes. We can now go back and tighten down all of our hardware. We're going to start by tightening down the bolts that connect our side plates to the frame. We'll use a 19mm socket, and you may need to put one on the inside as well to hold those, keep them from spinning. Our bolt that goes into the weld nuts we'll tighten with a 22mm. And then the long one is going to go back to that 19mm. While we're over here, we can also tighten down those side bolts that we had loosely installed. And we can go ahead and tighten these ones down on the side of the frame that we had left loose from before. Now we'll tighten up our bumper support brace bolts with a 15mm socket and wrench. We can then tighten down our side plate to cross tube bolts with a 19mm socket and wrench. We'll now tighten up the support gussets that we put on here with a 19mm socket and wrench for the ones going into the side plate. And then an 18mm socket for the one going up into the frame. We can then go back and torque all of our hardware to the specifications found in our instructions. We're going to be torquing it in the same order that we had tightened everything down. And that completes our look at TorkLift's SuperHitch Magnum 30K replacement hitch on our 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 3500.